Good day, mates. Today, we are going to read and discuss Act 3, Scene 4. Portia and Bassanio and Nerissa and Gratiano are now married. Bassanio and Gratiano have left Belmont to return to Venice. Portia tells Lorenzo and Jessica that she and Nerissa are going to pray in a nearby monastery while their husbands are away. She asks Lorenzo and Jessica to look after her house while they are gone. However, when Lorenzo and Jessica have left the stage, Portia gives a letter to her messenger and tells him to take it as quickly as possible to her cousin, Dr. Valerio, who is a lawyer. Portia then tells Nerissa that they are going to dress as men and will soon see their husbands again in Venice, although their husbands will not recognize them. Let's begin our reading on page 117. Belmont, Portia's mansion. Portia, Nerissa, Lorenzo, Jessica, and Balthazar enter. The setting is Belmont, a room in Portia's house. The time? Shortly after Bassanio has left for Venice. We already know Portia, the lady of the house. She lives in Belmont and is now married to Bassanio. Nerissa, Portia's lady-in-waiting, and she is now married to Gratiano. Lorenzo, one of Bassanio and Antonio's friends, and the person who eloped with Jessica. Jessica, Shylock's daughter. And now we meet Balthazar. Balthazar is one of Portia's faithful servants, a man who works for Portia. Lorenzo, Madam, I speak sincerely when I say you have a noble and true understanding of godlike friendship, which appears most strongly in how you bear the absence of your Lord. But if you knew how true a gentleman he is to whom you send relief, how dear a friend to your good husband, then I know you would be happy with this good you're doing than all your daily kind acts make you feel. Lorenzo is speaking to Portia. He addresses her as Madam. He addresses her in a formal manner. I speak sincerely when I say, Lorenzo is going to say something complimentary about Portia. You have a noble and true understanding of godlike friendship? You have a firm understanding of a godlike friendship, the highest form of friendship, a special friendship when people are brought together by God, which appears most strongly in how you bear the absence of your Lord. Your understanding of this special friendship is proved most strongly in the way you accept the absence of your husband, Bassanio. But if you knew how true a gentleman he is to whom you send relief, the relief Portia sends is Bassanio with the money to pay Antonio's loan. This gentleman Lorenzo is referring to is Antonio. He says, if you knew the person for whose sake you're making this sacrifice, how dear a friend to your good husband, how much he loves Bassanio, your husband, then I know you would be happier with this good you're doing than all your daily kind acts make you feel. Once again, this good deed Lorenzo refers to is Portia's willingness to allow Bassanio to go to Venice to help Antonio. Bassanio also took along more than enough of Portia's money to repay Antonio's loan. Lorenzo says this good act will make you feel happier than all your other usual acts of kindness make you feel. Portia is known to be a generous and helpful person. Portia, I never have regretted doing good, nor shall I now, for in companions who often talk and spend their time together, whose minds enjoy an equal bond of friendship, there's sure to be a similar composition of character, behavior, and of spirit, which makes me think that this Antonio, being so close a friend to my dear husband, is sure to be like him. And if that is so, how little is the sum I'm giving to save him, who's like my husband, who's my other self, from a condition of hellish cruelty. This comes too close to self-praise, so no more. Listen to something different. Lorenzo, I'm now putting you in charge of the management and running of my house until my husband's return. For myself, I've made a secret vow to heaven that I'll live in prayer and contemplation, only attended by Nerissa here, until our husband's safe return together. There is a monastery 2 miles off, and we'll stay there. Please don't refuse this service, which love and something of an urgent deed is now imposing on you. Portia says, I never have regretted doing good. I have never felt sorry for doing what is good. I never regret helping others. Nor shall I now, and I will not regret doing good now. For in companions refer to Bassanio and Antonia's friendship, who often talk and spend their time together, whose minds enjoy an equal bond of friendship. There is sure to be a similar composition of character. Character refers to the characteristics or features of a person, behavior, and of spirit. Spirit refers to intellect and beliefs. Portia is saying that friends who spend a lot of time together and who love each other equally must be very similar to one another, which makes me think that this Antonio, being so close a friend to my dear husband, my husband's closest and dearest friend, his BFF, is sure to be like him. Portia loves Bassanio, and Antonio and Bassanio are best friends, and therefore she is certain Antonio must be a good man. She believes that Antonio will be much like her true love Bassanio. According to her, they are like-minded, and their characters are the same. And if that is so, how little is the sum I am giving to save him? How small is the amount of money I am giving to save Antonio from Shylock's clutches? Who is like my husband, who is my other self? She loves Bassanio, and therefore she will love Antonio. As a friend, of course, Portia describes Bassanio as her other self. So if Bassanio is close friends with Antonio, then Antonio must be remarkably similar to Bassanio, and therefore very similar to herself. Antonio must resemble Portia's soul. From a condition of hellish cruelty, she will do everything in her power to save such a good person as Antonio from Shylock's clutches. This comes too close to self-praise, so no more. There is too much like praising myself. Portia shows that she values modesty. She does not want people to think that she is showing off. Portia asks Lorenzo a favor. She says, "Listen to something different. Lorenzo, I'm now putting you in charge of the management and running of my house until my husband's return. For myself, I've made a secret vow to heaven that I'll live in prayer and contemplation." Portia tells Lorenzo that she wants him to take charge of her household, as she has taken a vow to spend the time in prayer and to think deeply about religious and spiritual matters until Bassanio returns. Only attended by Nerissa here. Only Nerissa will go with her. There is a monastery 2 miles off, and will stay there. They will stay at a monastery. A monastery is a place where men who have dedicated their lives to God live. The female equivalent of a monastery is a convent where nuns live. People sometimes retire to a monastery for a short while to pray and be close to God. This is what Portia says she and Nerissa are going to do. Please don't refuse this service, which love and something of an urgent deed is now imposing on you. I ask that you not refuse this task, which my love and need now requires of you. Lorenzo: Madam, with all my heart I shall obey you in all fair commands. Lorenzo is saying, I will obey all your instructions with honor. Portia: I have already told my household of this, and they'll acknowledge you and Jessica in place of Lord Bassanio and myself. So farewell till we meet again. Portia says all her servants already know about her plans, and they will obey Lorenzo and Jessica. Lorenzo: Kind thoughts and happy hours go with you. Jessica: I wish your ladyship all your heart's desire. Jessica addresses Portia as your ladyship. This term shows Jessica's respect for Portia. All your heart's desire? My wish for you is all the happiness in the world. Portia: I thank you for your wish, and am most happy to wish the same to you. So farewell, Jessica. Jessica and Lorenzo go. Now, Balthazar, as I have always found you true and honest, so let me find you still. Here, take this letter, and with every human effort possible, make speed to Bordeaux. See you deliver this into my cousin Dr. Bellerio's hand. Take charge of whatever notes and clothes he gives you. Bring them with all imaginable speed to the Traghetto. There's the public ferry which goes to Venice. Don't waste time with words, but quickly go. I shall be there before you. Portia, Lorenzo and Jessica haven't known one another for very long, but it seems as if they are already good friends. Once Jessica and Lorenzo leaves, Portia talks to Balthazar. She says, I have always found you true and honest, so let me find you still. I have always found you to be honest and trustworthy, and I hope that you always continue to be so. Here, take this letter. The letter seeks her cousin Dr. Valeria's advice concerning the legal matters connected with the bond, and he will provide her with the garment she needs to execute her plan. In her letter, Portia gave Valerio the background to the case, the urgency of the matter, and her own involvement in the case. She gave him all the details she had learned about the case from Bassanio. She informed him of what she wanted to do and requested him to allow her to take his place. She asked his advice on what to do and say in court, and she suggested what he should write to the Duke of Venice and asked him to send her his reply along with his notes on the case. And with every human effort possible, make speed to Bordeaux. Do everything possible to get to Bordeaux as quickly as you can. See you deliver this. This refers to the letter Portia has just given Balthazar. Into my cousin Dr. Valerio's hand. Dr. Valerio is a doctor of the law, not a medical doctor. Take charge of whatever notes and clothes he gives you. Look after whatever documents and clothes he will give you. The clothes will be Portia and Nerissa's disguises. Bring them with all imaginable speed. With all the speed imaginable, as quickly as possible. To the traghetto, that's the public ferry, to the place where one boards the public ferry that carries people to Venice. This is another way to travel to Venice, and from the looks of it, a much faster way. I shall be there before you. I shall wait there for you. Balthazar. Madam, I will go with all possible speed. He goes. Balthazar says he will be as quick as lightning. Portia. Come on, Nerissa. There's work to be done you don't yet know about. We'll see our husbands before they think of us. Portia says, there's work to be done you don't yet know about. You do not know about my plan to rescue Antonio. We'll see our husbands before they think of us. We will see our husbands even before they miss us. Nerissa. Will they see us? Us refers to Bassanio and Gratiano. Portia. They will, Nerissa, but in such strange clothes, they'll think we both have an appendage that we lack. I'll take any bet you like that when we are kitted out like two young men, I'll prove the smarter fellow of the two, and wear my dagger with a brave spirit, and speak just like a youth whose voice is breaking. First low, then splitting high like a reed pipe. I'll turn my dainty steps to a manly stride, and speak of fights like a fine bragging youth, and tell quaint lies. How noble ladies fell in love with me, and I rejected them. So they fell sick and died. What could I do? Then I'd feel sorry for them, and wish for all that I hadn't killed them. I'll tell a dozen of these silly lies, so men will swear I must have left school over a year ago. I have in mind 1,000 raw tricks of these bragging lady killers, which I'll practice. Portia says, they will, Nerissa, but in such strange clothes. They will see us, but we will wear disguises. They'll think we both have an appendage that we lack. An appendage is an attachment. Portia says they will think we have something which we actually don't have. They will think we are men. I'll take any bet you like. Portia says that she will bet Nerissa anything she likes. That when we are kitted out like two young men, I'll prove the smarter fellow of the two. If we are dressed up like young men, I'll be more handsome and attractive than you, and wear my dagger with a brave spirit. Portia will walk around wearing her dagger more stylish than Nerissa, and speak like a youth whose voice is breaking, first low, then splitting high like a reed pipe. Portia will speak in a high-pitched voice as though her voice were breaking, in other words, changing from a boy's voice to a man's voice. I'll turn my dainty steps to a manly stride. Portia says she will turn her two short ladylike steps, the way she walks now as a woman, into one long manly step, the way a man walks, and speak of fights like a fine bragging youth. She will tell them about all the fights she was in, just like a boastful young man, and tell quaint lies. She will tell creative stories. How noble ladies fell in love with me and I rejected them. So they fell sick and died. What could I do? Then I'd feel sorry for them and wish for all that I hadn't killed them. Portia says that she will tell all these creative stories about how the ladies tried hard to gain her love and how she refused to give them her love. So they fell sick and died. She just couldn't help it if these ladies died because she didn't return their love. She therefore killed them by refusing to love them. I'll tell dozens of these silly lies so men will swear I must have left school over a year ago. I'll tell many of these silly, worthless lies so that men will be convinced that it's at least a year since I left school. I have in mind 1,000 raw tricks. Raw tricks refers to crude sayings. Of these bragging lady killers which I'll practice, I have 1,000 characteristic expressions of these immature young fellows. Nerissa: what? Shall we turn to men? Nerissa asked, do you really mean that we'll be like men? Turn to men could also mean take up with men. In other words, take men as lovers. Portia: shame on you. What a question that would be if you were near a dirty-minded man. But come, I'll tell you my whole plan when I'm in my coach, which waits for us at the park gate. And so, let's hurry away, for we must cover 20 miles today. They go out. Portia is witty, and she immediately picks up on Nerissa's wordplay. Portia pretends to be shocked by Nerissa's question. She says that she will tell Nerissa everything on their way to Venice. For we must cover 20 miles today. We still have a long way to travel today. Portia seems to be very excited and happy as she and Nerissa leave. That concludes our analysis of Act 3, Scene 4. Till next time, cheers guys.